People are passionate about outdoor equipment. Get this, Americans spend more than $20 billion a year on gear. But no one ever really sees how their stuff gets made.
Well, that's where we come in. Each week, we throw open the factory doors and give you a behind-the-scenes look at how your favorite gear is made.
Made for the outdoors. Out on the ice, in the toughest conditions, the Black Otter sled remains a staple. Otter, the foundation of portable ice houses. Turns out these sleds have quite a bit more use than just fishing.
Bill, welcome.
Chris Whitty works on the Otter project at Rhino Roto Molded.
Well, I think it's amazing when you say a company started with a sled. Obviously, that sled does a lot of different things.
We think of the Otter sled as ice fishing, but it's used in construction, ranching, disaster recovery. Internationally, we ship them to Russia, Scandinavia, Finland. It's not just a Midwest product, it's used all over the world.
Rhino sits hidden in Maple Lake, Minnesota, a quiet farm town 1 hour west of Minneapolis. Inside, Team Otter cranks out all kinds of roto-molded products, but Otter Pro sleds might be the most important.
We've been around for about 20 years. The company, believe it or not, started pretty much with the Otter sled. It was one of the first things that our owner started making.
And remains at Rhino's core.
The entire process starts outside the building, right back there in those grain bins. Each of those holds 40,000 pounds of raw product. It'll all get pumped inside the building using air and a piping system. Inside, that stuff, the raw material, polyethylene powder, mixed with, you might call it a few secret spices.
We have a proprietary blend of polyethylene that we use.
That polyethylene powder is really the DNA of Otter Pro sleds.
We know how much plastic has to go into each of them to get the wall thickness that we need.
Okay, so this bucket is 37 pounds exactly of that polyethylene powder. And 1 hour from now, this bucket will become this, an Otter Pro sled.
The team fills sled molds and clamp them shut.
All right, Dave, you have to show me this thing. This is the brain behind the machine. This is what makes everything tick.
Dave imports a recipe of sorts into the computer.
We got the oven at 550, oven time. That's the amount of time that it spends just in the oven here. We got a 4-to-1 rotation with a 4-minute reverse. After it leaves the oven, it goes over to the cooling station, and that's at 20 minutes.
Inside the oven, the sled molds rotate on this giant fair ride looking machine. The completed molds rotate out of the oven and over to a cooling area.
Things like 2 stories high.
The molds constantly rotate, slowly melting and forming the polyethylene. The powder becomes liquid and oozes throughout the mold, eventually coating every nook and cranny.
And it will slowly melt that resin and coat the outside surface and continue to build layer upon layer upon layer.
For another 20 minutes, they'll continue to spin as the sleds slowly cool and harden. After that, the Otter Pro sled process really gets cooking.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by splash products, access covers, game fair, and Coates RV and Ice Cabins.
Tucked away in Maple Lake, Minnesota, Team Otter sweats away hot summer days.
There they come. So they put a gate out there around the side so guys like me don't fall off.
Once the sled molds start to cool, they rotate over to the deck. It's the hottest spot around.
Very, very hot. You really have some respect for the people that are working those decks.
Especially when you see them work. Watch this.
Got that pin out.
So that's Key's team. They're really fast.
Well, we got to around here.
Key Johnson supervises the deck team.
These guys are like a pit crew. They all know what the other is doing, and they work fast.
We try to stay in sync together, yeah. Otherwise we just fall behind and trip over each other the whole time.
After they loosen the molds, the tops pop off.
There it comes.
We'll pull the molds apart, bring the sleds out here, drop them onto the floor, and then we'll router them out.
So just like that, you can see two sleds, top and bottom.
Gotta rush all the time. We got a deadline on that clock. We always have to beat the oven for the next time. They always want that oven continuously full. So you wanna come on out and try it?
I'm gonna be the weak link. I can't keep up with these guys. I'm just gonna get out of their way. You guys actually forgot one clamp. I'm on the team. Here goes the powder. So that fast, they're dumping in the dry powder. But boom, boom, boom. They're pulling sleds, pouring powder, and getting it into the oven.
Go ahead and grab one. Toss it on in.
It's gonna be the wickedest sled they've ever had. 20 hours a day, they fly like this, pounding out sleds as fast as they can. There's that much demand.
All right, Bill, the next thing that we need to do is, because it's a double cavity mold, we need to router them apart.
While the sleds are still hot and somewhat pliable, workers run a router 360 degrees around the sleds. And out pops a nearly completed product.
That looks easy.
You want to try the other side?
All right, so first thing, drill a hole.
Okay, grab that router.
Wrap it around a couple times. These are like $150 sleds.
Well, it's probably yours if you wreck it.
This is a seemingly easy looking task, but I have a feeling.
Good job. I don't think I could have done it any better myself. We can actually sell that sled.
Now that I've got routering down, I still need to pick up the final step, trimming.
Is that trim tool?
No, that's a shear form.
I don't even know the right tool to use. So what are you doing? You're just pulling with that blade? Just like that? How am I doing? Probably not doing great.
You're breaking a sweat.
Geez, I'm burning up in here. So you have to trim this sharp edge now, just because you don't want somebody grabbing the sled, and I'm wearing gloves, like I could feel anything.
I think that'll pass. I think that'll work.
With that, the Otter earns its name, and I earn my stripes.
Thanks, man.
Good job, thanks. You earned it.
Team Rhino. Gloves and a t-shirt, and I didn't do squat.
Maybe I need to give myself a little more credit. After all, another completed Otter Pro sled goes onto the stack, ready to go out the door as the foundation of ice fishing's hottest shelter. And of course, to be used in all kinds of ways only people can think of.
Now that I work here, I see these more than I ever have. It's a good feeling to see these out in the world.
Coming up, Minn Kota builds on its boating legacy, crafting a new mechanical anchor. Straight ahead, I go to work on the town.